Hey, good Sam, this is Pastor Jed. I hope that you have been enjoying our summer reading program. We're in the book of Ruth, and we just wrapped up chapter 1. In chapter 1, we were introduced to Naomi. She is in Moab. She is not with God's people. She's not surrounded by people of faith that are praying for her, who are encouraging her, who are supporting her, who are carrying her candle of faith when it seems to go out. She's in a desperate situation because she has lost her husband. She has lost her 2 sons. It's in that moment that she turns her eyes to Israel. She decides that she is going to go back home. But she's going back home differently than she left. She's going back home bitter. She's going back home empty. But she's going back home all the same. On Sunday, we were reminded of what it looks like when you have lost everything. How the hopelessness can just creep in, how the darkness can just descend. We were reminded that this is why, as God's people, it's important for us to stay connected. Connected with each other, and especially connected with God. When we don't, we can lose sight of who God is and how God has been faithful, how God has carried his people through difficult times. At the end of the chapter, we were reminded that the barley harvest was coming to fruition. I'm wondering if you're in a season where you're experiencing loss, if you're wondering how God is going to provide for your needs, maybe your financial needs, maybe your relational needs, maybe the struggle that you're having with yourself or with an addiction or with something that's outside of yourself. I want to remind you that God is so aware of who you are and where you are, and that God is working behind the scenes to carry you through. On Wednesday, we're going to be gathering, and we're going to be discussing the sermon. We're going to be discussing God's faithfulness, and we're going to see how God has been leading us, guiding us, and carrying us through. I won't be here on Wednesday. I'll be with my parents in Kansas, but I'll be thinking of you, and I'll be praying for you. I've got good news for you. This week, you get to hear from Pastor Zach as he opens up Ruth chapter 2. And as we begin to see how God surprisingly provides a way out of the famine into a new and bright future. Blessings.